G'day guys, so I've got the car on the hoist. I've already pulled out the factory bumper bar. It's a matter of just pulling all the bolts and clips, factory clips. So the next step we're gonna do now here guys, is to cut this here, this cover or shroud, whatever you wanna call them. And I'll show you how to get it off. Pull out this clip and just a bit of yank and will come off. And the whole thing will be out. It's a matter of just cutting here and putting it back together. Push that clip in and back to that clip, other clip, and do the same on the other side. So next step is to pull out the side brackets for the bumper bar. It's held by two 10mm screws. One is soft, one is coarse. And just a matter of yanking this again. That goes in the bin. All we're gonna do is put back the fine thread on the headlights, supporting the headlights, and repeat on the other side as well. Next step is to pull out the reinforcement. There's two ways of doing it. My way of doing it is just pull off the 4 bolts at the back here on each side, and there's 2 M6 bolts underneath. You're just gonna undo them, and just a matter of pulling the whole thing off. What we're left with is this plastic cover. Just a matter of 2 screws here, 10mm screws, and a little tiny clip, and off you go, straight to the bin. So once you remove the reinforcement, then 4 bolts on each side, we're gonna be reusing them for the cradle. So now that we've got everything exposed, we're gonna start off by installing the recovery points. So the way of doing it, we're gonna insert that nut plate inside the chassis here. Grab the recovery point. Make sure you align the bolt that goes through here with the nut inside the chassis. It's a bit tricky, but you can do it. So once you line up them 2 plates together, you'll find the 2 holes here, they line up together as well. There's 2 holes inside the chassis, which will meet up with the nut plate. And all you gotta do is just tighten it up and repeat the same process on the other side. Make sure you cut this extension and leave it inside, and make sure you cut extra bit of it, even 5mm, so that doesn't touch the chassis and make noises. So now it's time to put the cradle on. Now there's a one way of doing it if you're by yourself, is to put them 2 factory bolts on the chassis. So you hook it through the slot here on one side, take it all the way, put it back, right in the middle, and it's on. Now it's time to put all the factory bolts back on. Make sure it's only hand tight, because later we're gonna have to center it and high tension it. So guys, we've got one more bolt here. It's just locator for the recovery point. So it's nothing to do with fixing the actual recovery point, just a locator. So we'll make sure we put this in. So now that we've hand tied all the bolts, we're gonna make sure that the cradle is right in center. So we're gonna have to measure from the edge of the cradle to the chassis plates on each side, and we're gonna have to match them. Now that I've tightened everything, just let you know guys, what I've got here was 16mm. So could be very close to that. Now that we've got the cradle and the recovery point bolted, there's a joiner bolt and nut to be added on that top hole here. And repeat the same on the other side. So in the kit, you find some supplied pinch weld. So we're gonna have to cut it to length. And word of advice, when you cut the pinch weld, there's a piece of exposed metal. Just pull it off, just to avoid corrosion and rust. So we're gonna insert it here like that. There you go. And repeat on the other side. Now that we've got the cradle fitted, all the bolts are tightened, it's time to fit the bar. And the way it goes, there's 3 big holes here matching on the cradle and the bar. There's 12mm bolts in the kit. So the way it goes, we've got the bolt, big washer, we go through the hole from the outside, washer, spring washer, and then the nut. So now we get to the part where we're gonna have to drill a hole for a locator hole. Locator hole is more security for the bar. So, and the way we do it, we've got a hole already in the cradle. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab an 8mm drill bit, drill a hole in the bar, fit an M8 bolt, and I've got the M8 bolt spring washer and washer, and simply a nut from behind, and I'll show you how to do it right now. So guys, it's very important to blow out all the shavings, the metal shavings created by drilling the hole, just to avoid any rust and corrosion. Now that I drilled the hole and it's ready for me, I'm gonna insert my bolt, M8 bolt, like mentioned before. I've got the nut, support the bar from behind, tie it up, it's all done. And repeat the same process on the other side. So after fitting the bar, we've got them wing support brackets. We're gonna have to fit them from underneath the car. Come close, Jay. And the way they go, in, up. You've got supplied M10 bolts, spring washer and washer. They go through from the top, down. Just gonna put the other one, make it easier for myself. And then washer, nut. Now you only hand tie them here until we find the other holes on the other side of it, and we're gonna get M6 on this side. The way it goes, we've got the actual bolt, spring washer, washer, goes in both holes, and then another nut from behind. This nut doesn't need any washer because it's got its own. So we keep moving it until it lines up. It's a bit fiddly, but it is doable again. Now that I've fitted the bar and tightened it, I'm gonna go ahead and do the electricals. We'll come back when we're fitting the bash plates. So now that we've got the bar fitted, everything tightened, we got to the best part, which is the bash plates. We start off by trimming the guard liner here. So we're just gonna cut it to fit inside the bar on that edge and align with this at the same time. I'll show you more once I start cutting them. So you just want to follow the angle of the bull bar, go down and around here. It doesn't matter if we cut it a bit longer because you can always tuck it in inside the bash plate. Next, we need to fold it in. We test fit the bash plate just to see if we need to trim more. That to me looks perfect. I might need to just trim that bit. So what I like to do here, just put a Tech screw just to hold this bit in like that, and then the bash plate will tuck this in like this. So I've got all the supplied M6 bolts. You go bolt, spring washer, washer. So you got them 4 holes here, and you've got an additional one right there. So we're gonna start off by just hanging it for now. So all we need to do, just hand tie them for now. Now, if you see here, this is where I need to kind of like adjust it to fit that last bolt. So it'll be bolt and nut from behind, hand tie that. This is when I can go with my gun and tighten the whole thing. And repeat the process on the other side. Now that we have both side bash plates on, we're gonna fit the middle one. The last 2 bolts in here. And there you go, guys. We just completed fitting a GT bull bar for 150 Prado.